which investigations had proved to be unfounded. Obasanjo demands a fresh probe into an alleged wasting of $16 billion on the power project by his administration. If Buhari is not satisfied with the findings of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives which cleared him of the allegation. The Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar has asked Christian leaders not to instigate ethnic or religious war over their comments on the killings in the country, urging them to think twice before commenting on the issue. The Sultan says their comments could assist the terrorists in their war against Nigeria. The Sultan making the call while addressing resident communities, security agencies officers, and media practitioners during the Ramadan breakfast at his palace in Sokoto explained that more Muslims than Christians have been killed by Boko Haram forces. He says people killing in the Middle Belt state are criminals and security forces should arrest and penalize them, while also blaming some politicians for being behind the killings. The Sultan objects to an online publication saying there will be war if the abducted Chibok schoolgirls Elias Sharibu died in Boko Haram custody, saying it could embody the terrorist group to kill the girl and plunge the country into confusion. An estimated 1,292 Nigerians died in various auto crashes nationwide in the first quarter of this year. The National Bureau of Statistics in the newly released data also says 8,446 Nigerians were injured in 2,482 road crashes recorded during the period under review. The Bureau explains that 1,186 out of 1,292 who lost their lives in the auto crashes are adults, while others are children. According to the agency, speed violation is responsible for 50.8% of the crashes, tire burst for 8.2%, while dangerous driving is blamed for 8.42% of the accidents. Rice and cassava farmers in Ogun State have been asked to see agriculture as a serious business and invest more in the sector to meet local and export demand for the product. An agricultural expert, Juma Ataguma, made the call in Abeokuta during a workshop organized by International Fund for Agricultural Development (IFAD) for the farmers targeted at developing entrepreneurship skills in cassava and rice value chains. Ataguma, who is a lead consultant at the workshop, expressed concern that rice and cassava farmers in Ogun State are not taking advantage of proximity to a huge market in Lagos and the limited demand for export. According to him, most of the farmers are not increasing their production level because of lack of knowledge of the opportunities in processing and marketing of farm products. Also speaking at the workshop, a youth farmers leader, Johnson Ajibola, asked the state governments to open up more land for growing of cassava and rice for more farmers to expand their production level. He called for more of such workshops to expose farmers to acquire the needed entrepreneurship skills and increase their production level to meet local and export demand. You're still listening to the media news on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, will be your foreign, business, and sport news. Please do stay with us. US President Donald Trump has said there is a very substantial chance a historic summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un next month may not happen. He said the North must meet conditions for the summit to go ahead, though if it did not, it might happen later. Mr. Trump was speaking as he received South Korea's President Moon Jae-in at the White House on the 12th to June summit due to take place in Singapore. Mr. Trump did not say what conditions the US had set for the summit, but asked for a reporter about the North's arsenal. He said denuclearization must take place. The North has said it may cancel the summit if the US insists on it giving up nuclear weapons unilaterally. The United Nations Human Rights Office has asked Algeria to stop the collective expulsions of thousands of migrants, mainly from sub-Saharan Africa. Between March 8 and April 19, the UN Human Rights Office reports that Algerian authorities carried out at least 6 mass roundups of sub-Saharan African migrants in Oran, Douira, and Boufarik. Spokeswoman Ravina Shamdasani says raids reportedly are carried out on construction sites in neighborhoods where migrants live, and some are picked up in the street and detained. Shamdasani says many of the migrants were not allowed to pick up their belongings before they were expelled and had to leave everything they had behind. She says some migrants were transferred rapidly to Niger. Others, she says, were detained in reportedly inhuman and degrading conditions in military bases. In business, Nigerian Stock Exchange has granted 6 companies further extension of the deadline to restructure their share capital in a way to dilute the over-concentration of shares and free more shares for minority shareholders. A regulatory report showed that 6 companies have been granted extended deadlines to restructure their share capital, while 7 companies remain in default of their earlier deadlines granted to the companies. The 6 companies that have received waivers and extended deadlines include Union Bank of Nigeria plc, Transcorp Hotels plc, Infinity Trust Mortgage plc, Great Nigeria Insurance plc, eTransact International plc, and Agile Aventis Nigeria plc. Finally, in the media news, sport news. The Super Eagles of Nigeria were beaten 3-2 by Europa League winners Atletico Madrid in the GoTV Max Cup match played in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Salisu Yusuf named a very strong lineup for the game, which included the Nwakali brothers, while Diego Simeone chose to leave star player Fernando Torres and Captain Gabi on the bench. Chances for both sides were slim until Arsenal Luni Kelechi Nwakali opened the scoring with a sumptuous strike at the 31st minute, but almost immediately Angel Correa equalized for the Spanish side as it went to halftime with a 1-1 draw. Torres was introduced to a large roar and put Atletico Madrid ahead when he nodded in a corner in the 63rd minute. Osman Mohamed equalized for Nigeria in the 79th minute in beautiful fashion before Boja wrapped up the scoring with a 5th goal of the game. That was the media news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun Revenue Bill passes second reading in Assembly amidst opposition. Buhari asked Nigerians to beware those preaching division in 2019. Sultan warns Christian leaders that comment on killings could cause war. 1,292 people died. 8,466 others were injured in auto crashes between January and March this year. Donald Trump expresses doubt over proposed meeting with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. UN condemns mass expulsion of migrants from Algeria. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website at www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Tobi Joseph. Good afternoon.